Well, hi, everybody. We have an hour to talk and then about a bunch of questions from the audience. So we're going to use the Slido system. I'm supposed to say download the Slido, whoever the fuck that is. And hashtag South by Southwest. You know the drill. And then we'll ask really rude questions of these men. I'm going to try my best, but we're going to move on. So we were just sitting backstage, and we were talking about a variety of things, of podcasts, and I'm so excited coming from Silicon Valley to be able to interview white men. I'm so excited. First of all.
Big switch.
Yeah, it's a big switch for me. It's usually, not the sausage fest that's happening here. But let's get started into what you guys are doing.
When do we come on?
When do you come on? All right, here we go. I want each of you to talk about, you have left, we're going to start about sort of what you're doing exactly.
Sure.
So why don't you explain what you're doing? Because you've created several podcasts, but you're creating a media company, essentially a left-wingy media company, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
John, why don't you start?
So we had a podcast called Keeping It 1600 before the election. All right. Then Trump won, and we decided that we didn't just want to continue the podcast, which we may have done if Hillary had won, but we wanted to get back into the game to some extent. We'd all been in politics for a long time, and so we wanted to not only continue the political podcast we were doing, but expand to a network of podcasts, expand into video, sort of create a progressive media company that didn't just analyze politics like we did during Keeping It 1600, but also helped inspire activism and organize. So we started Crooked Media, and we're in the very early stages, so we have a long way to go.
All right.
We hope to be a progressive media company that informs, entertains, and inspires action.
So progressive media companies have had not the best history. I'm thinking Air America, and we got Rachel Maddow and Al Franken, yay, and others out of that. But it wasn't a successful effort. Same thing with Current. Other things. How do you guys look at this idea of it? What are you thinking?
Oh, well, first, I don't compare myself to those things.
All right. Well, good idea.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think we're approaching this thing like how do we build a successful progressive company. I think we're starting from a simple idea of we want to have this no bullshit conversation about politics. It's resonated with people. There's a huge appetite for a different kind of conversation that. Look, we're figuring this out as we go, right? We decided to launch and build it as we go because we just wanted to start talking. We want to be part of this conversation. But one thing that is for certain is that there are tens of millions of people who are deeply unsatisfied with the way they get their political news. I mean, the way that we were thinking about it is that, you turn on cable news and there's a ton of great journalists, but what you end up watching is world-class journalists interviewing morons. And that's not a sustainable system. It is not a sustainable system. We all fucking hate the news. We turn it on, it makes us feel bad. The content is pretty bad. The way it's delivered is worse. And 2016, what? They're laughing at me already?
No, we got loose really fast.
By the way, guys,
start going. That means
everybody whose flights were canceled, thank you for being here. You're part of our key demographic. People stuck at the airport. Right. A group of people with which we're competing with CNN. Right. What was the question? So we're going to do that.
Basically, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. So look, we're starting with. We started with this podcast. It resonated with a lot of people. We're going to try to figure out ways to bring that kind of a voice, a younger, more authentic voice. All these different news outlets are all struggling with how to reach people, and so many seem to have settled on having a serious a voice of authority with none of the actual authority behind it. And we just want to sound like ourselves. We want to bring people who know something about politics, who have something to say, who care about these issues, and aren't going to be part of a stilted, dead language conversation that we're all very sick of.
Well, I'm not sure if it was authoritative. It's screamy. It's just pretty much screamy.
Yes.
Right.
For sure. That's also bad.
So, Tommy, you guys were at Bill Simmons, The Ringer and stuff, and that's where you got started with Keeping It 1600. Why did you leave? Because that's that's what he is doing. So why not be part of that particular media organization?
Sure. I mean, there's a couple of reasons. One is, I think that if Hillary had won, we probably would have kept doing this as a hobby. But when she lost, I think we all had this existential crisis that if you watched the live stream, you saw happen in real time, where we figured we have to. It didn't feel right to wake up every day and obsess about politics and what's happening in the country, and then go to work doing something else. For me, I needed to marry those two things up and make that my job and my life. And
Never watched that live stream, by the way.
No, it's great. Watch us break down.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. So I think like what The Ringer is doing is great, but it's like sports and culture and news. We're trying to make something that's like very progressive and very activist. And then on the other end, like we're dedicating our lives to this. Like I'm moving down to LA, we're starting an office, we're hiring a team. Like we want to own and have the flexibility of creating all the content and making all this.
But you were the big hit on that, correct? You were the big hit on The Ringer, correct?
Those are your words.
Yes. You were.
No,
I mean,
I've been reading Bill Simmons for a decade. Like
Right.
his stuff is great, and it always will be great. And
Right.
The Ringer is going to be fine.
Were they sharing revenue with you? I understand they were not sharing revenue with you.
They were paying us dollars.
Okay, but enough dollars?
They were paying us.
Do you want us to get the contract out?
Yes, please. That would be great.
they were paying us enough for what was a part-time hobby.
A part-time thing.
You know, and so
But you guys wanted to start your own thing.
we wanted to do a full-time thing.
So are
and
you-
we said that, and I said to Bill right after the election, we want to start our own thing because we want to not just be partisan, but also activist. And
Right.
I don't think you want all this activism under the banner of The Ringer, which also does sports and tech and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I totally understand.
We want to do stuff with this company that will have a political benefit that might not have any financial benefit. And I think explaining that to someone, if you're part of a broader organization, will be
Right.
difficult. I think we can have that flexibility doing it.
But you want to build a business, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you're going for.
Absolutely.
And you're one of the top ones on iTunes. I mean, I'm in the podcast business. You can make some money. You can actually make some real money at it. So are you raising money right now?
We're not.
I don't think
yet.
we need to.
Not raising money.
Nope.
How are you going to, how are you going to pay
I
for
mean,
it?
we're not going to pay ourselves any money, but we're going to use the revenue from ads to invest in the business and try to hire a great team and get an office
So you're not
space.
going sort of the startup route, creating that kind of.
Well, I just feel like the podcast is like our seed money.
Right.
I mean, I don't know the venture fund terms. The vultures are
good,
emailing
love it.
us, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what a
Right.
seed round is.
Seeds.
I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You guys are way too eager.
Right.
And it's like, we don't need you people. We're making money hand over fist.
Right, yeah. Okay.
There it
Which
is.
is very
love it.
against, which is very against the
People
startup.
say that making money in like the content media game is hard, and like that is just like not my
It is.
experience.
It is. I agree with you. I agree with you.
It's honestly like a joke. It's super confusing because like everyone's like, oh, how are you going to monetize? Like it's easy.
Yeah.
Just start talking and then
Yeah.
the money rolls in.
Don't tell them.
I don't know what other people are doing.
Yeah.
So clearly we're not raising money.
Okay, all right, good.
You can tell.
Because you're not very
I mean,
good
like,
at it.
I mean, you can give us money. It's going to be
Right.
a terrible valuation for you.
Yeah. What is your valuation, John?
It's
Obviously, for you,
tremendous.
priceless in your head. But yeah, what is it?
I mean, I'm going to have to say it, guys.
Right.
Billion-dollar business, hub of the resistance. What do you want?
All right, okay. So let's talk about the resistance, because
People say you're a very tough interview.
I don't. John,
Do you find that?
John, I do find that. I do find it, but I really do enjoy. You know, it's easier when I have to interview egomaniacs.
Yes.
Yes, there
That
she
was
is.
great. That was great.
There she is.
Oh, I feel so good about
You
that.
do. You know, I made Mark Zuckerberg sweat and almost faint.
Really?
Yeah. And the only reason I stopped is because I thought he would fall on the ground, then I'd have to do CPR, and then that picture would go down. And you just don't want that to
Weighing
happen.
the options.
I didn't want any lip action with Mark Zuckerberg.
Dear Max.
Anyway, Dear Max, yeah.
You won't believe what happened with Kara today. I'm trying to build a world where that doesn't happen again.
In any case, let's get to Trump, speaking of
Yes,
making
egomaniac.
inappropriately.
How's this going?
Speaking of egomaniacs.
Speaking of egomaniacs.